I conquered the world with seduction in Warhammer 3, playing as Nakari, seducers of Slaanesh, who is the god of pleasure, the god of beauty and art. We have a bunch of super powerful abilities, from stealing enemy troops, to forcing an entire faction to subjugate to us, and even summoning an entire army out of nowhere. Since I'm choosing the Immortal Empire campaign, I spawn in Ulthuan by default, the ancestral home of High Elves. It seems the High Elves doesn't like me and a faction called Craze is already at war with me, so I immediately call on an assault on his High Elven army. The Slaanesh units are pretty fast and their legendary lord, Nakari himself, is an excellent warrior as well. It seems the enemy just going to chill inside the forest, so I'm just going to send out Nakari to break through the front line. And I've already got some spells on Nakari that can be casted, but this one releases a giant slash on our enemies. As expected, I won the battle with 0 losses, and Nakari contributed a great number of enemy casualties. After this fight, the fall of Craze is just a matter of time. Now I have to introduce a diplomatic ability of Slaanesh faction, Dominate. Every time we perform diplomatic operation on human, elves, and beastmen faction, they gain seduction influence. When the influence reaches 100%, we can force the entire faction to become our vassal. This includes giving them money as a gift, so in theory, if you're rich enough, you can literally buy a vassal by giving them small amount of money as a gift repeatedly. And that's not the only way to gain seduction influence. They can also get it from simply getting defeat on the battlefield or some little hero activities of ours. And back to Craze, I'm going to attack this settlement. Slaanesh has some of the best cavalries and chariot in the entire game. They don't seem to be that good in the previous fight since we were fighting in the forest. For the cavalries and chariots in Warhammer 3, every time they charge at enemies in high speed, they deal a ton of extra damage. As the Slaanesh ones, they simply smash through everything. The only downside is they can be quite micro-intensive. In the early game, the High Elves are heavily relying on the combination of spearmen and archers. Don't get me wrong, these are excellent units. The spearman is super good at holding the line, whereas the archers deal a ton of damage over very long range. And they're cheap as well. However, this combination has a weak spot. It requires a tidy formation, and messing up their formations, turning the battlefield upside down, is exactly what we're good at. Finally, we arrived at the capital city of Craze. It seems I'm going to take quite a lot of casualties from this fight, so I seduced some of the enemy units, turning them into one of ours, and I won the fight. After I capture the last settlement of Craze, I get an extra choice, which is forcing the entire faction to become my vassal. However, in this stage of the game, I'm just going to occupy them. Craze eliminated. Immediately after I conquer Craze, I declare war on its neighbor, Kothikwe. I have to act quickly before all the High Elves start attacking me. It is just a matter of time before the Everqueen break through the Dark Elves and stab me from the back. Kothikwe is a small nation, so they couldn't put up much resistance to the beauty of Slaanesh. I caught their main army wandering on the map. Using the same strategy, I turned the battlefield into complete chaos. And now they are gone. Instead of occupying Kothikwe's capital, Torkorali, I turned the faction into my vassal. Kothikwe dominated. At the same time, my heroes are operating in the inner circle of Ulthuan, spreading seduction. Back to the outer ring, without giving my army proper replenishment, I instantly declare war on another faction that ranks way higher than me, Elves. While their main army is not in position, I sack a small settlement to damage their economy. Elves got furious and sent out an army. Nope, not a chance. To be honest, I really don't expect the AI just give away an army like that for free. Then I can just straight up sieging Elves' capital. However, there is one issue. After continuous fighting, a lot of my units don't get replenished properly. The auto results suggest that we are outnumbered pretty hard. But I'm just going to fight it myself. If you watched my last video, you will know that I always wanna have some fun with the enemy reinforcement. So I sent out my melee infantry to camp the spawning point, while my other units try their best to buy us some time. Since the enemy armies consist of both melee and range units, what I did here just disabled all of their archers. With some slightly intense micro, I won the fight. By the way, since the start of the game, I've been seducing a faction called Safari. It is the land of magic and wizardry, according to fandom. Safari dominated. And I also give Nakari an upgrade called Harvester of the Souls. With this ability, every time an enemy unit got completely destroyed around him, he gets an absurd amount of healing. Back to Elves, I finally meet the legendary lord, Tyrion the Grim, on the battlefield. Hey, I've seen you got some scary units, huh? Now they're mine. I let our chariot and cavalries hide in the forest, then attack them from behind. Oh, look at these juicy archers. This is just so satisfying. And now the enemy are running away, it's time for Nakari to get some HP back. Jeez, Nakari just basically has his health back to full using Harvester of the Souls. And soon after the battle, I conquered Elves' last settlement. Elves eliminated. But this is not over yet. As my forces continue to move south, I encounter one of the strongest factions in the game. Asian, led by the legendary lord Tyrion. They rank number 3 in the world right now, and so I must take some very good fights, eliminated Tyrion's army one by one. After I sniped one of Tyrion's army, Tyrion himself come to hunt us down. Hey, nice little phoenix. Although the auto results suggested that we are slightly outnumbering them, I still have to be very careful, because Tyrion is a very strong legendary lord. I send out the Phoenix on a suicide mission, attracting enemy firepower while I move my infantries forward. With no issues, I turn the battlefield into complete chaos again. This time, however, it seems I made it a bit too chaotic. Random troops of both sides scattered around the battlefield. The micro intensity is definitely there. With some really intense micro, I managed to eliminate 298 enemy troops, with us losing only 32. Since Tyrion lost 2 of his strongest army, I'm now free to grab this settlement. However, instead of occupying it, I woke up Elves, turning them into a vassal. Soon, legendary Lord Tyrion will return to serve, but on my side. Up to this point, Nakari hasn't replenished his army properly, so I'm going to click this button. Boom, a free army spawned on the map. I love how broken Slaanesh is. What's more broken about this army is they cost almost no maintenance fee. And now I become pretty much unstoppable at this point. No one can stop me from taking Ulthuan, not even you, Alarion the Radiant. I must admit you've got some really strong units, but no more. Asian dominated. Checkmate, my queen. In despair, Avalon sent out their last resistance against the seduction of Slaanesh. And Avalon dominated. For those who you haven't played Slaanesh at all, Slaanesh faction lacks ranged units. But now, after Queen Avalon become our vassal, I have the access to the strongest archer in the game, Sister of Avalon. And for the Dark Elf faction that helps me defend against Avalon since the start of the game, they are useless now. I'm just going to dominate them. Scourge of Cain, dominated. Now there is only one last faction stopping me from uniting Ulthuan. It is the Dread Fleet. Unfortunately, their main army happens to be right over here. I may not have enough army to destroy this yet. Never mind, now I've got enough. With the help of a bunch of elven legendary lords, in just a couple of turns, the Dread Fleet lost all of their colonies on the land of Ulthuan. Dread Fleet expelled. Now I have the entire Ulthuan under me and my vassals' control. And that's it for today's video. If you like it, don't forget to like and subscribe, or go check out this video. Thanks for watching, goodbye.